Good morning, Alan. Hello, everyone else. I'm Terry, and welcome to TARDIS Spider. Today, we're going to look at the model work for spaceships and space stations in classic Doctor Who. These men and women crafted models that gave us images of things far into the future that we can only imagine. And if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 800 subscribers by the end of the year, and you can help. And now, let's look at the masters of the models. 6 years after Sputnik was launched into space, Doctor Who would make its debut. So it will be no surprise that the early space designs would reflect the 1950s aesthetic. Rocket ships are smooth, with fins, while aliens have saucer shaped ships, and stations in space are wheel shaped. Further into the 1960s, with America jumping full speed into space, the look and functionality and the realism of designs would be reflected in Doctor Who. In the early years, model work was farmed out to freelance firms such as Shawcraft Models. While Doctor Who never had the time or budget allotted to films, this would not stop the ambition in the stories. One of the black and white examples of a space opera is The Space Pirates. Sadly, 5 of 6 episodes are missing. This story is often the hot topic of is it the next story to be animated? The examples of spacecraft design, though, are extraordinary. In a world that recently had the first moon landing, color exploding onto television, John Pertwee's Doctor is exiled to Earth. The Ambassadors of Death, complete with an Apollo style spacecraft, brings to screen space travel from the real world. Yet designing spacecraft from scratch on a show with the budget and time constraints of Doctor Who is difficult. So designers are looking for ways to save time and money without compromising production values. One way is reusing props with a makeover from other productions. In The Colony in Space and Frontier in Space, models left over from Jerry Anderson's Century 21 special effects were used. Designers Bernard Wilkie and Ian Scoones drove by the Anderson facility, loaded up a van with discarded props and models. The result? Several miniatures from both Joe 90 and Captain Scarlet would appear in both Pertwee stories. Throughout the 70s, audience expectations became greater and were more influenced by the films and television coming from America. Star Wars, Alien, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, these were an influence on television production. On both sides of the Atlantic, television sci fi received budget increases, and it would show. Battlestar Galactica is an example. To me, one of the most ambitious space adventures of the 1970s is the story Invisible Enemy. Set in the Earth year 5000, this story has space shuttlecraft, a base on Titan, a hospital carved into and built into an asteroid, not forgetting inner space, where sets were built for the time that the Doctor and Leela would spend inside the Doctor's brain. Model work on Invisible Enemy was overseen by Ian Scoones, then shot on 35mm film at Bray Studios by longtime colleague Nick Alver. Both were on the production team of Thunderbirds. Their skills and experience together would be visible in the finished products. 2 years after The Invisible Enemy, Scoones would produce some of the finest model work of the 1970s television anywhere. The memorable design of the Jagoff spaceship in City of Death, the Tom Baker classic. Wanting to install a sense of uneasiness, he crafted a ship with a round body and legs that resembles a spider. Now, he would craft the miniature landscape before the live action sets were started, forcing the director to follow his lead, a reversal of usual productions. More often than not, designers of spacecraft are confined to the practicalities of the sets that they have to match. Now, a most unusual space adventure Enlightenment. First, we are traveling on an Edwardian yacht, but the first cliffhanger will reveal it to be traveling through space, a space yacht. The challenge for designers here was to convince the viewer that this could happen in the world of Doctor Who. The why and how are now parts of the stories. While some of the models were too small to be convincing, but overall, the sight of a fully rigged sailing ship in space is striking. This same thought process was used for a 1950s bus in the story Delta in the Bannerman. In the 25th anniversary Silver Nemesis, the design of the Cyberman shuttlecraft was hindered by the fact that the set designer had to create a doorway through which Cybermen would appear, meaning that any model craft had to have a matching entrance at ground level. But the grandest creation had to be the space station in the opening of A Trial of a Time Lord. It had been 18 months since the series had gone on hiatus. Needing to come back with a bang, the visual effects manager did just that. The space station model was 4 feet in diameter, with a 6-foot spire rising from the center. Built in fiberglass and detailed with the parts from dozens of robot kits, and lit from a multitude of small lights, it was expensive but spectacular, winning praise for all. But it would highlight how poorly the set pieces could look in classic Doctor Who. Since the series returned in 2005, all the space shots are computer generated. And yes, they are amazing, but the feel for the artistic craft of the model shots is missing. I hope you enjoyed this video. So enjoy your journey through time and space. Good night.